Okay, so in today's discussion in this module, what we are going to do is we'll cover debugging in Python. Now, what exactly is debugging? Debugging is a process where you can execute your program step by step and see how it is actually getting executed and try to figure out if there is any problem. Okay, so if you will look at sometimes you run into a situation wherein you expect that a program should have been running in a certain way to give an expected result, but for some reason it does not work the way you are expecting it to work. Okay, so in that case what you do is you can run your code that is written in Python using Pycharm in a debug mode, and then try to execute the program step by step, and you can understand how the program is actually working. Okay, so let me start my Pycharm. I have a Pycharm here. So let me bring it up on the screen in front of you. So this is a small program which I have or rather we have already discussed. I'll stop my execution of the program. So if you will see, this is a very simple program where I have a method with the name add. Okay, I have another method with the name add too, and what I'm doing is I am calling add two times at line number 17 and 18 here. Now what I need to do is that I want to see how is my program executing step by step, right? So what I can do is if I left click on line number 17, it will put a red color ball here which is known as breakpoint. Similarly, if I want to put somewhere else, I can put here, for example. Okay, now in order to run a program in debug mode, what we can do is I can right click on my file here. I can say debug example. Example is the name of the file I'm trying to execute. So this is example.py. I'll say debug example. So once I click on this, you will see that program starts execution and it comes and halts or stops at the first breakpoint here, right? So what it means is that execution is suspended until the point of the breakpoint. So what I mean by that is, let's say for example I put something here, print, I'll put here test code using debugging in Pycharm. Okay, now I don't have a breakpoint at line number 16, but I have it 17 and 18. So if I run this program in debug mode, what will happen? It will execute 16, but it will stop at line number 17 here. So let's do that again. Right click, debug example. So let's see. You will see that in the console here bottom, I have got my output of line number 16 already, right? Means that line has already got executed. Now it is waiting at line number 17. Now we can execute the program step by step. There are various options available here. So let's look at some of the options. So if you go to run menu here, you will see that there is an option to step over. Step over means step over to the next line. Step into means if it's a function call, go inside that function. That is step into. Okay, so let me press F2. I'll press, sorry, it is F7. F8 for step over and F7 for step into. So I'll press F7. So what will it do? It will take my control back to this function here in the beginning of this function, right? So let me try to make this a little bit bigger if I can. Okay, so I'm pressing function F7 in my keyboard. So can you see that it goes to the function and it waits on the first statement of that particular function? Yes. So after that I can say F8. So what is the F8? Which is go to next line or step over this line print statement at line number 4. So I'll say F8 and it will display the value here. So if you will go to the console here, you saw that output. So now we are executing step by step. Now if you will also see in the debugger tab here, if you choose this console tab to see the output and a debugger tab, if you will see there is a variables window here, right? There it shows that A is a variable of type integer and B is also a variable of type integer holding a value as 10 and 20. These are the values which we have passed, right? Now currently no result variable is showing because that line number 5 has not got executed yet, right? So I'll again say F8 here. So now you will see a result variable got created and it holds a value of 30, right? Now if I press again F8, the control will come back to the place from where the program was called, right? Now I'll say again F8. Now if I press what F7 here again, F7, it will step into and go to the program. But let's say for this time I just want to move on or step over. I don't want to step into means go into the method. Step over means go to the next line. So if I say F8, it will not go to the function this time, right? So I'm pressing F8 and the execution of my program is done. So basically debugging provides you an ability to execute your code step by step to understand how your program is basically executing. Okay, so let us even try to understand this particular concept of debugging by making use of another program, which is a for loop, which we had done earlier. So again, I have done, I did a left click here on line number 5 and I have put a breakpoint. Now if I don't put a breakpoint here and if I right click and say run for loop, it will execute and it will give me the output, and it is giving me the sum of all the values in this list here, right? Now another thing, if I don't put a breakpoint and if I say debug, still it will, let's see what it is doing, still it is giving me the whole output. Why? Because I did not put any breakpoint. So in order to suspend the execution of program so that we can perform the execution of that program step by step, we have to put a breakpoint. So I will go ahead and put a breakpoint here by clicking performing a left click with my mouse on the editor here. Okay. After that, I'll right click here. I will say debug for loop and let's see what happens. So program comes and stops here. Now whatever was above this line number 5, that has got executed, right? And because that is executed, if I hover my mouse on top of that variable, I can see what values are in that particular variable and what is the data type. Can you also see that this is a class list type, right? And then if I hover my mouse on some variable, it says it is an integer holding a value of 0. Is that right? Similarly, there is another window here at the bottom, or you can call it a tab, which has on the left side it is debug mode. This is the console where you see your output. So if you will see here, it has my list and sum. I mean, what is the purpose? The purpose is that I want to see that when I'm trying to iterate this list, what is the value in I? So let's go step by step. So in order to go step into, so I'll say F7. So F7 will take it into next line, right? Which goes to print. But line number 5 is executed. So what is the value of I going to be? It will be the first value 10. So if I hover here, it is 10, right? Or you can see it 10. Now if I say again F7, it will print it. Yeah, and currently sum is not defined. Sum will be defined after the execution of line number 7. So if I say sum equal to, okay, sum is already defined here at line number 3 holding value 0. So it is sum, currently it is equals to 0. So if I say F7 here, it is got executed, and now what is the value of sum? Sum is 0 plus 10, right? And the control comes back, right? So this is how we can do it step by step until the for loop is completed. Now if I press F8, what will happen? It will go to the next breakpoint. So next breakpoint meaning, if I press F8, okay, it is still going step by step. Step over, force step over, step out. Okay, so basically just one more minute, force step over. Okay, so it's still going step by step only. So I'll execute this program. So like this, you can see that during the execution of your code, whether it is caused some issue somewhere, and you can identify that during the execution of program, what are the values, how it should have been executing, where the flow should have been going, right? So these are the few things you can do with executing a program in debug mode. Now if you want to, let's say, resume program. So you can simply press, you can either click here and remove the breakpoint and then say resume program, so it will run till the end, right? And you will get the output in the console here. Is it clear? So this is how you can pretty much do execution of a program using step by step or execution, or by debugging the program with the help of Pycharm.